hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my head. I am in misery. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in
Hello, everyone. I'm, of course, OLED, the master and the ruler of the world. We're live, pal. And this is, of course, the one and only, the natural Lash Pizarro.
Hello.
Rest in peace to Sid Yui. One of the people I loved to hate as a child growing up. 9 times out of 10 in everything, he was a heel. But there was nobody who... Sid did things that nobody else could do, both good and bad. Like asking JR if they could restart of Gene Okerlund if they could restart a promo that was live. Standing on top of a car that had been crushed and yelling, "Goldberg!" If you haven't seen these clips, you need to go find them. Sid was fantastic. But in my childhood, in the heyday of my wrestling enjoyment, Sid and Shawn Michaels were a team. Sid and Shawn Michaels had massive matches against each other. It was just... Sid was a special part of my childhood, and it's sad to see him go at 63. Thankfully, he, got to see his family and whatnot before he passed, unlike so many other wrestlers of my childhood. So it was nice to be able to know that, he's in a better place, but the world's going to miss him because Sid was a cool cat. Hopefully he's playing softball up there in the big wide yonder and having a good time because Lord knows Sid loves softball more than wrestling. We've got John Cena popping in and saying hello. Why was this episode taped with none of the talent in Orlando? No, the talent is in Orlando and they are preparing to go to Colorado. The production staff, on the other hand, for some godforsaken reason, is also part of the production staff that's taking on the Berlin show. So I think the NXT staff is the advanced staff that sets up while the TV staffs aren't necessarily there yet. So the staff that's at Raw, that's going to be at SmackDown and all that, I think this staff that runs NXT is the one who sets up for the Friday event, the noon Friday event coming up for Bash in Berlin, the pre-thing that they have every time now that we all enjoy. Yes, rest in peace, Psycho Sid. He was an interesting cat. If you don't know more about him, look him up. Just don't look up Psycho Sid in injury, because if you don't have a weak if you have a weak stomach, that one's not working.
That's all I know, and that's all I want to know from that.
No, there's some good stuff. We'll show you some good stuff another time.
No, that's all I want to see from that end of it.
It is one of the most horrific wrestling injuries I've ever seen in my entire life, to be honest.
Yeah.
What'd you think of NXT this week? Speaking of, it was pre-taped. The episode title for this is Road to No Mercy. It was supposed to be recorded Road to No Mercy, but I got overruled by the Queen.
Oh gosh, that's not gonna die down, is it?
Not with me.
No. No. It just sounded better, Road to No Mercy. It's a last show before No Mercy. It fits better.
It's not our last show before No Mercy.
I know. I mean, the last NXT show officially before No Mercy, not ours. But,
what did you think of tonight's show?
I feel like it was like up and down for me. There was moments that I enjoyed versus other moments that I was like, I could have done without that, that's for sure. So
I was bored for a good portion of the show, I'll be honest. I was realistically bored for a good portion of this show.
It didn't feel like a go-home show, though.
I think that's because it was taped. I think the fact that we knew it was pre-recorded and and unfortunately for them, they've been done a really good job of keeping under wraps what shows are taped and what shows aren't. This one, not only did we know in advance that it was taped, but we knew in advance the things that happened on the tape show, which is unusual for NXT lately. NXT's done a really good job lately of not having that happen. John Cena's asking us, we'll give this little bit of a sneak peek into our predictions. Do you think No Mercy will have any title changes? No. My answer is not a single one.
Probably not.
I think there's only one title that could switch hands, and I think it's the worst decision if they do it.
Is it Opa losing?
No, God, no. Opa's not losing.
Okay.
It's Tony fucking D'Angelo. He's not losing.
I'm making sure you're not thinking about that one.
No, I'll even tell you. It's Kelani Jordan versus Wendy Chu. That's the only one that's even a remote possibility for me that she loses that title is Kelani. And I think it's a mistake because, like I said, I would prefer that we get Jada Parker to have a great effort and lose here. And then within the next month or so, Jada Parker wins that Women's North American Championship. I think that's what they should do with Jada Parker. I love the idea of her facing Roxanne. But until Julia and Stephanie Fakir get here, it's a no-brainer that she's not losing.
Yeah. Spoils it a little bit there. A little bit.
I don't mind predictive shows if the matches are good. And I think that's what we're going to get on Sunday. We're going to get a lot of matches that we all kind of know what's going to happen. And they're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying all they can to make sure we think that title's changing hands on Sunday night in the main event. Trick Williams is now a special guest referee.
They made you believe.
Everyone Get the table says Jada should be fined and suspended for slapping the Prodigy. No, she should be given a bonus. She should be given a bonus and commended. Good job, Jada. Way to go. I mean, she smacked the shit out of Roxanne.
The only thing I give her that at least she's a woman of her word. She said she was going to do it, and she did it.
Oh, she did it all right, but we'll get there later. We start the show with the Terrible Trio, because I'm not calling them the other name, and their new entrance music. Now, we all know what I think of them, so we all know what I think of the music. Astrid, you're a fan. What did you think of the new music?
I didn't get to hear it. I missed the first couple of minutes, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that.
Hold on. No, just go ahead and tell me about your thoughts of the match, and I will pull up a wonderful video. Thanks to our friends from Fightful.
Goodness gracious. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm running a very little sleep tonight, so I do apologize. No, I feel like this match though, I'm glad it opened the show because I feel like I really like the chemistry that we have with Fallon and Jacy. I don't remember this is the first time that actually like team up together like this. I believe it is. But either way, I feel like they did very great together, the way they gelled together. Versus at the same time, like Lash being the powerhouse that she is, she showed out so great. I loved how powerful she looked today, the way she was carrying both of them at one point. I was like, girl, do your thing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it. So she was definitely like the highlight of the match for me more than anything. And to me, even that finish, I was like, I like the way that Jacy and Fallon did the finisher together because they look so great, like visually, both of them coming from different sides. At the same time, I was like, that looked beautiful too. I love the way it ended. I had a feeling that they were gonna win in a way just because not only up thinking outside of like the tape show, but thinking of the fact that they're new, so you want to give them that little momentum because we really don't have much at the same time. And I feel like the metaphoric girls can actually like recover from this.
Yeah, I thought this was a great match. I really enjoyed everything about it. It still boggles my mind that Fallon Henley is on her own, but in a group, and it still makes no fucking sense. However, thanks to our friends at Fightful, I can see from the night. No, we won't let you in. 'Cause we hold on the line, and we'll blood you in night.
I feel like I don't mind the song. It just doesn't feel like a theme song because I'm like, you're muted, by the way.
No, it does not feel like a theme song.
Because I like the song, I like how it sounds, but at the same time, it feels like distracting because you're listening to the music instead of paying attention to the girls when you should be paying attention to what they're doing, and it just doesn't work like an entrance. Like I like it better when they do either something instrumental or something with a voice to begin with, or maybe some lyrics, but not too much that takes away from like the people that you're looking at. So I was like, that's the only thing, but it sounds okay to me.
When the song sounds like ego before it, then it is instrumental.
Yeah, don't give me ego like for too long. At this point, I don't know how to feel about that one.
This is a fun match. I really enjoyed it. I think Lash Legend, like you said, is an absolute star in this match. The first commercial break is entirely metaphors standing around doing nothing, because this is the moment where Fallon's nose got broken and she was being attended to by the medics off screen. So you just see for an entire commercial break, which really, since it was a tape show, they should have just gone to a full commercial break as opposed to picture-in-picture. Because it looked really dumb to have two women just standing there for no reason. I'm sorry. I pick on other companies for having bad shit like this on a pre-recorded show. There is no reason on a pre-recorded show this was a picture-in-picture ad break. Mm-hmm. We move on to a very fantastic West. Yeah. Shawn Michaels may have been cooking, but post-production was not. Wesley video package chronicling MSK coming into the company, MSK winning the tag team championships, and MSK winning the Dusty Cup. Oddly, no mention of Matt Riddle in any of this. Huh. I wonder why.
Why mention him? Don't worry about it.
He was a pivotal part of their storyline for like, 4 months?
Leave him out. It's okay.
Remember we had 4 months of vignettes of them trying to find the shaman, and we all thought it was John Morrison or somebody else, and it was fucking Matt Riddle. just leading them to get high. Otherwise, the video package is great. It chronicles all of Wesley's ups and downs. It chronicles his rehab and everything else, and it sets up for what we get later on. Very good video package. It's what NXT and WWE do best. Video packages. They do those better than anybody in the business. Karmen Petrovic goes ahead and comes to the ring. But first, we go backstage to see Eddie Thorpe talking to ladies. They have names, and I've been shown their names, but I don't remember. They've not appeared on NXT television, so I don't feel like I need to know them yet.
Soon, probably.
Probably. They're probably on Level Up. I bet if I watch Level Up, I don't know who they are. But I don't know. Because why would I force myself to watch Level Up? Anyways, they're talking backstage. And obviously, if there are women on screen, Ashanti the Adonis comes walking in. Oh. By the way, I like his shirt. It's got like the word stood and it's kind of falling down. And it's over the word miss and he's misunderstood. I'm like, that's good. I like that shirt. I kind of want that shirt. And the girls start talking to him about how Eddie played DJ stuff at the one of the live events this week.
The Orlando live event.
Sure, the Orlando live event that Astrid still didn't go to, even though she's right there.
No.
Because why would Astrid be our reporter on the ground when she could just not go?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sounds good to me.
Hold on, I forgot. In case Mel is here or Mel is watching on recap, if we're talking about Eddie Thorpe, I need to have this picture up. So Eddie's talking to Ashanti, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm a DJ. And the girls walk away, and he goes, all right, which one's your girl? And I'm like, well, none of them, because none of them are Dakota Kai.
I was about to say he should have been like, she's not even here. I wanted him to say that.
I was going to say, I wanted him to say she's injured, mother. What are you talking about? But no, he didn't say that. He was like, no, none of them are. They're just my friends. He's like, platonic friends? Like, seriously? Meanwhile, you see just this random guy walk behind the scenes. Apparently, it was Idris Inofe. I couldn't tell which one of them it was. I just knew when Brooks Jensen walked by with chair that it was one of the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie's like, no, they're just friends. And he's like, come on. They don't buy it. And then all of a sudden you hear crack with the steel chair. Inofe gets blasted by the steel chair. They both go run into the room. They pull Brooks Jensen off of Idris Inofe. And again, the camera never really pans on who's on the ground, which again, it's a mistake by NXT here. If you're going to have somebody laid out on the ground with the steel chair, show me who it is.
Agreed. Yes. I couldn't tell it was him either. So like later on when obviously the match happened, that's when I went, oh, since
it was an Inofe.
So it was an Inofe. I was like, why didn't you just tell us that? Because I feel like it didn't look like him to me either.
Nope. It did not look like Idris Inofe at all. Which is funny because we know he's there because, again, this was taped last week and we know he was at last week's show because during last week's show was the one where they had the two of them beat down Shawn Spears. I was like, we know he's there. Why not just show him to us? Like, again, if I'm going to pick at these things on other shows, I need to pick at it when NXT makes a mistake. This is a production mistake. We then get Karmen Petrovic versus Izzi Dame. This was fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I think Izzi Dame has really good in-ring presence. I think Izzi Dame has a really fun moveset. I think Karmen Petrovic is getting better and better week in and week out. And I think somehow she's the more entertaining personality. When you'd think the big, tall, buff, blonde girl would be more personable, and she should be because she was with Kiana James for long enough, she has zero personality. Whereas Karmen Petrovic did gain personality from her time with Natalia. She has a character. She feels like a fully fleshed out person on this television screen. And Izzi Dame, still to this day, feels like an NPC.
Again, to me, one mistake was splitting her and Kiana. I feel like Kiana gave her a little something, and it was starting to before it broke off. And then Kiana's nowhere to be found, and Izzy did just like no personality. You should have just stuck them together. They were fine there. So I don't know what happened there, to be honest. But what I liked about this match is I feel like they came with a different kind of intensity, and it kind of gave us, you can see that the frustration that Karmen has by getting attacked by Izzy. You can see it in the body language and the way they were wrestling with each other. It's like, I'm frustrated that you cost me a title match. And you can see that in the way they were going at it at each other. So I really enjoyed the way at it. Like you said, it's also bringing out a little bit more in Karmen, and you see more and more from her. We see her grow, and now you're thinking we can see her more as a character again, like the other girls. You can see a little bit more from her. And you're thinking, okay, and that one's Karmen. Now we'll know who she is because she has a little bit something different. So
Yeah.
again, I enjoy this. Not surprised that Karmen won this though. I kind of hoped that maybe, I don't want to say down the line, but like sometime soon, even if it's during NXT programming, that Ava will say, "Look, I'm still gonna give you a title shot just because you were part of the match, but you didn't get it because this girl cost it to you," kind of thing, and still give her a title match because she should have been part of the match itself. So I wouldn't mind something like that happening NXT sometime after No Mercy.
How about this instead? She gets a make good for a championship, but it's the North American Women's Championship. Because I think, based on what we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, I think giving her a shot at the women's champion is going to be pointless, because that scene is going to be very full for the next, the rest of the year. I think, I'll be honest, for the rest of the year, I think it's a pretty much full stack when it comes to the NXT Women's Championship going forward. So maybe it's that North American champion. Which, again, that's where I put Karmen anyways. I think, I said this to you, what was it? I think it was about a month ago. No, I didn't say it here. I said it on the previous show with SCW Steve, where I broke down that I think the North American women's division is for all of those girls who aren't quite ready. All those girls who are kind of there and have a personality and have a defined role, but they aren't ready for that world championship opportunity. And I think that that's Jada Parker. And mind you, Jada Parker is ready for the World Championship match this Sunday. She's perfectly fine. She's ready. But I think she can be that top star of that North American women's division. And she can float. I think Kelani can float between both divisions. And then you have Fallon and Jacy who can float between both divisions. And if you have a babyface champion like Julia's going to be, I think you can absolutely have Fallon and Jacy Jayne be lined up as 1 and 2 on the chopping block as soon as Julia wins that championship from Roxanne Perez, as Roxanne Perez hopefully takes some time off after she loses this championship. But I think there's a huge glut of women who I think can make up a fantastic women's North American Championship division with the Izzy Danes, with the Karmen Petrovics, when she comes back, Nikita Lyons, Kelani Jordan, Jada Parker, Jasmine Nix. Like, there's a big, large group. Tatum Paxley. Like, you can literally just keep naming talent. Kendall Gray, Brindley Reese. Like, you can continue as you start thinking of the names. There's a big, large group of women who are perfectly qualified for that next level of needing something else and having this opportunity to kind of hold a championship that gives them that time of the title. It gives them that forefront,
that experience,
without having to put them out there to potentially run the entire division.
Because I can't believe you didn't say Carly in this.
I mean, Kendall's overtaking Carly Bright, I'll be honest. I like Kendall more than I like Brindley, Carly right now. We have the Candy Crew getting ready backstage for the 6-person tag, and Charlie and Myles are doing this kind of shoulder-to-shoulder thing, and then Wren tries to get involved, and Charlie's having none of it. And then Wren tries to be the leader of the Candy Crew, and Charlie's like, no. I'm the leader. I'm the Heritage Cup champion. And she's like, yes, but Charles, remember that you wouldn't be the Heritage Cup champion if it wasn't for me. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, no. I've wanted this for so long, and now I'm already regretting it. We're 2 weeks into this partnership, and I already regret everything about Wren Sinclair and the Candy Crew.
Again, she's better as a heel. I don't know why they put her as a babyface to begin with.
We then get Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family, not this D'Angelo family, but the real D'Angelo family, going ahead and getting ready for the match as well. And then 2 guys come in and try to tell Tony something that's going on, but Tony doesn't want to hear anything of it until after the match. We then get to the second best thing on the entire show. I thought this was going to be a fluff piece, and I was like, this is going to be boring. And I'll be honest, when it was just Sarah and Jada, it was exactly that. I think Jada's a star. She had star presence. She controlled this interview segment. But they didn't give her anything interesting to do until Roxanne showed up. Because she talks about how it's been a whirlwind year for her, being in the breakout tournament, making her in-ring debut during the breakout tournament, and everything she's been in. And she listed it all. Having her first, pay-per-view match, having her first premium live event match, going ahead and having that match with Mia Yim. And now she's got her first opportunity at a world championship. She's like, I've done all this in such a short time. It's remarkable. They keep going back and forth. And she says, she's asked about, does she have any injuries going into this match because of how Sol Ruca fell on her? She's like, I got some bumps and bruises like everybody else, but I'll be fine when it comes to Sunday. And she says that while Roxanne is normally talking about all these people as being not ready for her, not being ready for the moment, she's like, I've been doing this my entire life. I've been getting D1 scholarship opportunities since I was in middle school. I've been performing at LSU in front of thousands and thousands of people my entire collegiate career playing soccer. She's like, I'm not a soccer player who got into WWE. I'm a WWE superstar who played soccer at a Division I level in college. And I'm like, okay, Miss Parker, this is why she's ready. This is what makes Jada Parker different from Kelani Jordan. This is what makes Jada Parker different than Wren Sinclair. This is what makes Jada Parker different than every other woman on this roster. She was given an opportunity in a mundane fluff interview, and she came out with a line in a way to make you look at her character in a completely different level. It even sets up a feud with the Terrible Trio, talking about her Division I schooling and how that's not what she is and how she's different than that. It set up a separate feud that we don't even know is going to happen coming out of this, which is remarkable for a talent as young and green as she is. And then Roxanne shows up. And Roxanne starts talking about, the whirlwind year and this, that, and the other thing. And Jada's like, yeah, it's been a hell of a year. She's like, oh, no, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Lola Vice. Or I was talking about Thea Hale. Or I was talking about you. Everybody has a story until they come up against me. Everybody has a wonderful story that always ends the same way, with disappointment. Because I'm the one to stand here and ruin it for them all. And Jada just looks at her at one point and she's like, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. And Roxanne's like, go ahead. And she did it. She knocked her on her ass, like right off the chair, onto the ground. It was sensational. And then Jada looks right into the camera, but off to the side. Oh, you're here. You can get some too. And walks away. And then Roxanne looks, and she's like, uh-oh. Now, they don't show us anybody.
Yeah.
But Julia is finally finished with all of her Japanese responsibilities. She's had her final match in Marigold. And she's ready to come over here. She theoretically left there on the 25th. There's no reason why they didn't fly her directly to Denver so that she can be there to come out as soon as Roxanne wins this match in Denver at No Mercy and just stand at the top of the ramp and debut. I'm going to be wrong again because I've been calling for this for what feels like 3 months.
Oh my god! And this is the only part that give. I would give it like a downfall because, for example, when everything with Stephanie happened, her name was being brought up in social media often. And it's like, I know you have storylines, and I know you have things planned out, but I would have tried even giving just a video package or something to give us a clue that they're coming soon. Just because you have the name is trending, and all of a sudden now people are not talking about her because she hasn't shown up. And then kind of with Julia, the same thing. But the only thing with Julia is that because she's a marigold, you can kind of hear a conversation with her kind of happening sometimes. But then because we don't get a clue what's showing up in NXT talking, the discussion's a little bit less than usual because of that as well. So I feel like they kind of lost the momentum they had with after they mentioned that they signed them, basically, because it's kind of similar with Delta. With Delta, they haven't even announced anything officially, like they did with Stephanie, and she posted that she basically moved to the US and then nothing. We haven't seen anything else, any kind of clue of like when is the class showing up. Usually they do that picture with the class. We haven't gone one in a while like that. So I was waiting for that kind of picture. And then now it's the stuff with the visa with Stephanie. So I was like, I feel like you kind of lost, the trend, to put it like that, in the discussion that was happening, especially at that moment. But this particular interview though, I like exactly what you said. It's just like the part that it was starting off kind of slow, and then Jada just picked it up a notch even more, and she kept going with it. It kept going up and up and up, and she gave it like a spark that it didn't have at the beginning. That if she would have kept what was happening at the beginning, I would have been bored. But being that she kept going and she lifted up and kept going with that spark, it made me more interested. The fact that she's like, this is not something I'm new to. I mean, it's like I'm used to like being in front of people and performing in front of people. It's like you sound so confident, so great. I love hearing that from you. And I also like the fact when Roxanne's like comparing it, like, it's like you're gonna be like one of my victims. It's like you look at all the girls that have fallen down because of me. You're next. And I love the way she was able to listen. It's like, this is what I heard from Lola. This is what I heard from Tia. And it's like, it's gonna happen with you too. And I like the fact that this also shows us some Jada's character. The fact that I mentioned it. She's a woman of her word. She said, I'm gonna slap the taste out of you. And she didn't even wait, she didn't hesitate, and she did it. And they both look great while they did it too as well. So again, they didn't show us who was off screen, so very curious to what happens there. But again, I feel like that makes it a little bit more interesting. It could be Delta as well because she's like, she didn't seem like she knew who it was. And to a lot of people in NXT, a lot of people are not gonna know who Delta is compared to Julia and Stephanie. So if you think about it that way, it could be her too. The part that Jada is like, "Oh, you're here too," but she didn't seem to like really name it, as if she probably didn't know who it was. But it's like, you're here, but I kind of seen you, so maybe.
I don't think anybody was there because in my head, this is Julia. In my head, it's Julia, and Julia was still in Japan when this episode was taped. So obviously, they don't have Julia there to do. So they just had somebody standing in a line to be like, "This is who you're looking at. This is your eye line." Yeah. I'd love it if it was Delta. I think that'd be great if it was Delta. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be. I think the obvious answer is Julia. I don't know what's better, the slap or the sell. I agree. Roxanne sold the shit out of it. She fell out of that chair, fell right to the ground. I mean, everybody played their part right here. I agree. There's a lot. Julia's injury definitely threw a monkey wrench in a lot of plans. Fightful Select had reported that she was expected to be at Heatwave because there was time in between her being at Heatwave and her on her Marigold dates where she could have made a trip to Toronto and then gone back to Japan to go do that. But the injury probably put that off. And as SCG makes fun of me, final. Yes, if you haven't heard, watching Japanese Wrestling Update, they've been talking about Julia having her final match in Marigold for the past 3.5 weeks. Because she had her last match. Originally, her last match was going to be with, I believe it was Saray. With like 4 E's, I think is what her name is now. I think that was supposed to be her last match. And then they decided to do another match. And she did another singles match. And they literally did the goodbye after the match, where she did the whole tearful, emotional goodbye in the ring. And then right after the match, they announced Julia's going to have a gauntlet match where every woman gets 1 minute in the ring with Julia. And people are like, okay, fine. I guess we're going to have one more final match. Thus, the final.
And you know who I love to see there? My girl Zayda Steele was one of those, and I love to see that happen. And that was beautiful.
Can we just talk about Zayda Steele had an amazing run in Marigold? It may not have been full of wins, but she had a great time. She learned a lot. She was front and foremost in a big way on a brand new Japanese wrestling promotion with some incredibly talented Japanese wrestlers. So big ups to her for that. She's going to come back to the States, hopefully to a mountain of offers from multiple different companies to be able to go ahead and get signed somewhere.
Very happy for her. She's also had a debut tried in the past, so Debbie, please call her back because I would love to see her in NXT, please.
I would agree. We move on from this to the Candy Crew versus the D'Angelo family. Mid-match, those guys come back out and Tony D'Angelo leaves. The rest of this match is really boring. It's really nothing. Like, it was fine. Rizzo is impressing me. I know she impressed you last week a lot. She impressed me this week. I thought her stuff with Wren Sinclair was really good. I focused on her and Wren. Obviously, the only person I really cared about in this entire match is one person. Luca. My man Luca Crusifino had a fantastic match tonight. Got the big win. Got the W for the D'Angelo family. Not this D'Angelo family, but that D'Angelo family. You know the gag. It was a fine match. It didn't end anything, which is kind of a shame. Like, this should have been the final match, but because Tony's going after the North American Championship, it feels like it didn't really matter.
No, Rizzo, she's doing better and better, and I feel like between the Gauntlet match and this, she's doing so much better than she did last time. I was like, this is what I wanted to see the first time you wrestled. This version of you. But again, I feel like they did great in that aspect too. And like you said, Luca, I feel like is another one that really was a standout in this too. Again, to me, it was fun. I feel like the only thing that I want to say the timing of it because I know Tavion is in Japan, but I feel like that 4 versus 4 would have been a great way to end it by having Tavion return, coming right out of Japan, and then having Tony on the other side having the 4 versus 4 mixed tag match. That's what I wanted to see. But then I kept thinking, oh wait, Tony's not going to be in here because Tavion's not here. So obviously that's what made me think about it later because I was really hoping that we had that form for it to like really close everything out and be done with each other. But I don't know, maybe sometime later that would happen. But again, I feel like they did very well together. Like I said, I keep seeing this, and I'm telling you because I've seen it before. I feel like Wren could do better as a heel. If you even just going by her Instagram, you could see she does what she used to do, her main character, like interviews with people, and the way she is with like kind of like that mean girl-ish kind of character. And she did so great doing that. And I'm not saying I want to do the same thing here, but it's like that type of heel character that she had before is what I wanted to see here. I'm not entirely sold on her being a face. I'd rather see her be a heel and then see how she goes up from there. And I feel like having her as a baby face, I feel like it's just weird for her personality on screen so far for me.
You know what would be a great place for Wren Sinclair as a heel? In the Terrible Trio when Jasmine nicks the spot.
Well, I don't know why I knew you were thinking that. I had a feeling.
But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
Hold on. Let me get the clip.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
Okay. No lies detected.
Wren Sinclair would be the perfect heel third to that group. Because unlike Jasmine, she fits the group's identity as somebody who's been working their ass off on the indies, who should be upset at all of these other girls getting opportunities from these D1 schools ahead of her.
Yeah.
She's had to work her way up. She had to go to the NWA. She had to do all the indie stuff. She's the perfect person to be the third in that group. For some reason, they just go, no, we'll throw Jasmine Nixon there because it's fun to have the girl who's a D1 athlete in the group that hates D1 athletes. Why? Well, she likes us and she wants to listen. Like, that's not how any of this works.
Yeah, and I feel like now that she's in the Candy Crew, it's definitely gonna take a long while for her to like leave the group. If she were, So I don't see that happening anytime soon now. That's the only thing.
Oh yeah. That's not happening anytime
Yeah.
soon. Millie Rose just face palming. Hello, Papa Smokes. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. We greatly appreciate it. If you want to see Papa Smokes talk all things old school wrestling with that Bobby Money Munson, you go ahead and catch them every Thursday night, 9:05 Eastern Time, when they go ahead and have Ring Respect Radio. I don't know what they got coming up, but I'm sure they're going to talk a little bit about Psycho Sid coming up this Thursday, because I'm sure Papa Smokes has seen a whole lot of Psycho Sid throughout the ages. We move on. Pete Dunne has a very short interview where basically the point of it is Pete Dunne versus Trick Williams next Tuesday night. I really don't know if there's anything else to this interview because I skipped all of it other than that.
No, it's just him getting costed like the championship or the title match, and that's it. So
yeah, yes, rest in peace, Sid. I talked a little bit about Sid, and how he's part of my childhood earlier in the show. I even started by calling myself the master and the ruler of the world in true Psycho Sid form. I even screwed up and did the We're Live Pal thing, so it was fun. I didn't mean to do the second one. Oh, we get Ethan Page backstage with Ava, and these two need a sitcom because they're great together. I love the two of them. I don't need Stevie Turner. I don't need Robert Stone. I didn't
even realize they were not there.
Yep. We didn't see them at all once tonight. And you know what? It was better for not. I love Stevie Turner. I don't want her anywhere near Robert Stone. Because you know what happens? People who get revolved around Robert Stone end up with a nice little form letter from the WWE thanking them for all welcoming them in their future endeavors. I mean, I'm always late or just miss it altogether. It's okay, Millie. It's okay. We can say it again. Sid was worth saying it at least more than once. It's fine. But Ethan's trying to get out of his match because he's told from Ava that there needs to be repercussions for his actions. He's like, you know what? You shouldn't even just fine me. You should suspend me so that I don't have the opportunity to defend this title. If I were her, I'd be like, well, that's fine. I can suspend you for 30 days. But then you haven't defended your title in 30 days, so you have to relinquish your title. Would you like to forfeit your championship to me, or would you rather face Joe? Like, that's something I want to see one of these people do one of these days. When a heel's like, I want to get suspended. Well, then give me your championship because you're suspended for 30 days. Because every wrestling promotion has that the title needs to be defended in 30 days thing, only when they need it. Never actually using it, but only when they need it.
It feels like a jet out of free card. Only when you need it, here it is. And then otherwise, they don't bring it up.
Yeah. But Ava says, don't worry, I'll figure out a punishment, and we'll talk about that once everything's finalized. We find out what that is later. And then we get to the best part of the show. The face-to-face between Zach Wentz and Wesley. Yeah. Did Zach Wentz always cut great promos, or is this something new? Because I don't ever remember him cutting a good promo when he was here the first time.
I feel like it's such tough because as a tag team, I feel like they don't always talk, or they always talk with each other, like finishing service like sentences as best friends and showing that, or they were always showing that obviously that they were high because of the characters. So it's like that's what makes me think like that's why we didn't get that version of Zach. But again, I love the back and forth between these two because being that they're real life best friends, they're able to like the besting each other. And I always say that even when you have matches, when they're best friends, they're able to hit each other a little bit harder than most people do. So you can even see that happening here just verbally in this promo, because the way he brings up the moment is like, who was the one taking care of you, taking you to physical therapy when your wife was working? Who was the one texting you at 1 a.m. when you wanted to give up, huh? He's like, who was the one that was there doing this and doing that? And I was like, oh shoot, bring out everything, bring it out in the fold here. And that part, and the fact that Wes comes in and looks at him, he's like, you're just a TNA I was like, ew, okay, we're going there. But again, it's like that, those moments of that back and forth, because they're able to bring out each other's like personal stories into this. And obviously we don't know the extent of it, but the back and forth they had here, I was like, you can keep going. I'm fine with this. It's like this is very fun already, and this is only just like a preview because they're not even getting physical with each other in this, so far in this segment. So I enjoy this so much, and I'm very much looking forward to that match.
Zach talked about how he used Wesley as motivation for these 2 years that he's been gone. The fact of seeing Wes achieving all of this success without him after he failed Wes was the motivation he had to get the Rascals, to get back to TNA, to get the Rascals back together, to win the TNA World Tag Team Championships together. Wes is like, it doesn't matter. I'm on a different level than you. I've realized that now, that I'm on a level that's above you. I'm above the Rascals. I'm above what you could ever be. That, like you said, he talks about during his rehab. I was there for you, taking you to rehab. I was there for you when your wife wasn't around. I was there for you at 1 a.m. when you wanted to give up. Me and Trey were the ones who came down here when you wanted to give up and leave NXT for the 3rd time since I left. And I'm like, I'm like, Wesley did a really good promo. Zach Wentz cut a cold promo. And then Wesley said it again. On Sunday, I'm going to show you why I am the NXT superstar and you are just a TNA wrestler. And he says this TNA wrestler is going to kick the NXT superstar's ass. And I'm just like, damn. TNA wrestlers are, I mean, really? Do we want to have, I mean, I can, for every good TNA wrestler that you can name me, I can name you one that's pretty shit. I mean, let's start with Moose.
Oh gosh, I was say I'm torn about that one because I get where Willie's coming from. It's like I also grew up watching TNA, so there's always so many people that are like, this one's great, but obviously, like you said, there's moments like you get it like a Moose and a PCO who's like, for me at times. I'm like, I know he has his history and everything, and he's been wrestling for longer than I've been alive, most likely. But again, there's moments where you're like, you should give up at this point as well. So yeah, I feel like with TNA, it just feels like most of them have more experience than NXT, hence why you can probably say like in that aspect, that's the big difference.
I love the idea that it's not the results in the ring in matches aren't saying that NXT superstars are better than TNA wrestlers. It's people's words from characters who are part of the wrestling portion of the story. This isn't Shawn Michaels and a figurehead who runs TNA saying that one's better than the other. These are wrestlers who are involved in a story saying it, which makes it vastly different than when Tony Khan was going out there and saying that TNA sucked and he was there to give the money when they were in their partnership. There's a difference between the two. NXT superstars, for the most part, are going over to TNA and losing. They're winning more often than I thought they should, or I thought they would and should. I think that these NXT superstars should be losing more often when they go to TNA than they have been. Because the TNA superstars are losing an awful lot unless your name is Joe Hendry. But I like the idea that it's the wrestlers having this discussion about who's better than the other, because that makes it more logical. It makes it more believable that the talent have the back and forth as opposed to the people running the companies.
And I feel like it adds a little bit of extension to what he said about him being on a different level. It's like, TNA's here. This is the level. I'm in NXT. This is the level I'm in. I'm above you. So he's definitely telling him in a different way, I'm above you because TNA is below NXT kind of thing. And it's like, and it so in that aspect, it's different when you think about it that way, because like he's making it more personal than anything.
Yeah, but I think it's like, again, the whole thing with this is the partnership is working. TNA talents are over on WWE television. WWE is putting eyes on TNA. Their last pay-per-view had the biggest sales in 10 years at the show where they sold out 4,000 seats. Like, it's been a long time since TNA has been selling 4,000 seats for a pay-per-view. And that's not because of NXT, but that's in part with NXT.
Mm-hmm.
TNA is doing their own thing, and they're doing it well, and that's why 4,000 people went to go watch that show. However, in part with having these people being seen on NXT television is bringing new eyes and new people, which is exactly what TNA was wanting to get out of this partnership. They weren't looking to get, to have a world champion on NXT. That's nice to have, but that's not what they were looking for here. TNA was probably looking for some money, which I'm sure they're getting, and they were looking for higher ratings and more ticket sales. And I'm pretty damn sure they're selling more TNA Plus subscriptions right now. They're probably selling out more tickets to Emergence this weekend. By the way, if you didn't know, this Friday is Emergence on top of Saturday being Bash in Berlin and on top of No Mercy being on Sunday.
I can't do it.
And while we have that moment, I didn't play it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to go ahead and play the calendar now. And we'll be back in just over a minute.
Please note. Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and the eyes seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be why? Now that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of time, I cross the lines just to tell you, don't leave the way, don't leave the same. Then I try with a child playing the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
So make sure you go ahead and check out all of our coverage of everything this weekend. Mark Talks will be part of the Bash in Berlin show. I believe Kimmy Sokol is also going to be a part of that show. I'm expecting to be on that show if I can make sure I have time on Saturday, because we are recording Saturday morning to release later Saturday evening the preview show for No Mercy. We are then having Astrid, yes, go ahead and talk about how much you love OnLap, because you've been making all these new videos.
I kept the song from the calendar because it's one they always jam out to when we hear the calendar. And then I'm guessing because Bobby heard it way too many times, Bobby changed this one. But either way, I was like, I love the band. I think they do the Taking Over one too, if I'm not mistaken. So
You do?
I wanted to keep the songs because I love them, but I just changed the videos because I figured you can see our beautiful faces now.
And speaking of beautiful faces, this weekend, while we don't have a graphic made for the pre-show just yet, we do have a graphic made for the post-show. Justin of the Wrestling Classic is going to be joining us after No Mercy right here on our local establishment, on all the wonderful places. You can go ahead and catch that. If you haven't checked out his interview with Kayla, what is her name now? Kayla Beckler, I believe is her name now that she's not.
Yeah, I was going to say not Braxton.
I knew I was about to say Braxton. I'm like, nope, it's not Braxton anymore. You just dropped it today. I'm almost certain it's Kayla Beckler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can go ahead and check that out. He does fantastic interviews if you haven't seen it. I can't wait to work with him. He has been on my short list for a while now. I've been pestering Ashley to try to get him to do one of our shows. So I am very excited for that. We got a bunch of stuff coming. Correct. It is Beckler. Okay, good. At least I got it right with this time, as opposed to last week when I thought somebody worked in the AOL Deputy Social Departments. Whoops. But yes, after that, we have Joe Hendry backstage, speaking of TNA talent, saying thank you to Trick for, allowing him to get the win by evening out the odds. And Trick was like, you know what? Look, I had to get Pete done. You got the win. That's fine. You kind of got screwed over anyways. So it is what it is. And Hendry goes, if I win. And Trick says, no, when you win. He says, all right, when I win on Sunday, you're going to get the first shot. Which would be interesting what we figure out later in the show.
What if you reminded me of right now, though, is the part when Ethan's talking to Ava backstage, and he goes, "I don't think you want to take Scotsman as your champion." And she's like, "Well, it doesn't matter really." I'm like, "You do want the Scotsman as your champion? Come on, Ava, you can't say no.
I
Don't
mean,
lie to me."
Drew McIntyre is wonderful. Joe Coffey is wonderful, right? Right? Those are wonderful Scotsmen, aren't they? What about Mark Coffey? What about Wolfgang? What about all these Scotsmen who could be world champion? Oh, you're talking about Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
And he could be world champion too. Not this Sunday, but he could be world champion.
Yeah.
October 1st. I'm telling you, October 1st is when I think he should win the world title. Anyways, Kelani comes to the ring and she calls out Wendy Chu saying, "All right, you had a challenger for me. Who's it going to be?" And Wendy sends out a black leather-clad figure, which turns out to be none other than TNA knockout Rosemary.
Yes.
This was so cool. This was so cool. And then the match happened. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I agree. When Astrid told me last week that Rosemary was coming out, I lost I don't know what that were a goddamn mind. I don't know what a gat is. But again, we've been teaching Ed things. If you haven't seen it, go watch the short of Ed learning what Ice Spice is. I learned about who Ice Spice was last week on the show. But,
well, it's a video on the
line.
YouTube because it's too long, just so you guys know. It's not a short.
Oh, it's a video. It's not a short? Okay.
Yeah.
I learned what an Ice Spice was. Apparently, she's like a sexy red, but slightly better. Apparently. I don't know. I don't know what a gat is. Yeah, I know. I'm way too old to keep up with this new slang. I finally learned what Riz was. Remember? Was it in the last 3 weeks? I learned what Riz was. So
I sisters, and I pass it on to you. You're welcome.
So what does GAT mean? GYATT.
I'm guessing it's what you, because there's no other word that comes to mind.
Okay, so maybe Millie can inform us. Millie's obviously much younger than us. She can inform us what that means. I love seeing Rosemary here. I think Rosemary's great. Beating her in 4 or 5 minutes with Kelani Jordan seems like a bad idea to me. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the terrible spot about pulling Kelani in this match, in my opinion, is the fact that she's a champion and you don't want her to lose on the way to the pay-per-view. So it feels like you automatically know Rosemary's going to lose it, which I didn't want to begin with. But then on top of it, I feel like the match fell so short, and I feel like we couldn't see a lot of Rosemary either. I love the reaction that she got, though. I was very happy with like the crowd reaction because, again, being in Orlando, TNA has been here quite often, so the crowd knows who they are. So it helps out in the end as well. But that part of her losing, I feel like it fell kind of quickly for Rosemary. I didn't like it. I really didn't. But I did love the ending of like the way that the lights kind of dimmed a little bit there. And you see the graphics from Wendy in the background that says goodnight with the sleeping mask. That was chef's kiss. And her coming up behind Kelani to like basically choke her out, to like have her pass out, and Rosemary just watching from the corner like, this is me every day. I don't mind it. But it was fun. At least that part of it. I know you're a little bit for his segment, but there's your
we missed this segment. So when you go back and watch it on the YouTube, I left this up during the entire segment with Eddie Thorpe in it. So you'll be able to we do love a little squeak. I'm mad this happened after Mia's done with NXT because it can be. So I don't know if anybody else caught this. There's a back and forth between Wendy, Rosemary, and Mia Yim on Twitter right now with the exact same thing. Because when it was tweeted out and Wendy and Mia tweeted out how excited she was to see Rosemary, and then Wendy tweeted her back, "She's mine now, get your own demon." To which Mia says, "No, she'll always be my demon. We're not doing this right now." To which Rosemary just goes, "Fight over me."
I love it.
It was indeed hilarious. These three are very good friends. It was hysterical. But no, like I said, I love the idea of bringing Rosemary in. Rosemary versus Kelani Jordan as a 10-minute, 15-minute title defense is a great idea. Rosemary being defeated in 5 minutes is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, the match wasn't bad. Like, there's nothing wrong with the match itself. It needed to be it needed to be twice the length. And I don't even mind Rosemary losing. I just want Rosemary to lose in a match that made her feel like she was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like in a match that you're able to see more from her too. I feel like you the best you could do is like her tarantula that she does from the ropes kind of thing. But aside from that, I didn't. If that was my introduction to her, I would have been like, I'm not satisfied. I want to see more because that was not enough. Yeah.
We had 2 matches I could have easily canceled for more of this. We have 3 more backstage segments that I probably would have canceled to give me 5 to 10 more minutes of this. I mean, we have Malik Blade versus Brooke Jensen. Could have waited another week. Didn't necessarily need it this week. We had Javon Evans versus Joe Coffey. That could have waited till next week. That would have been fine. I don't care about that. We have Tony in the restaurant. No, we needed that segment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, the next segment we could have skipped. Metaphor, backstage, talking with Oro Mensah, him trying to pipe them up. And Lexus King comes in and he has a go at Oro. And then Oro says that's very rich coming from a guy without a father figure. Dude, you're not Christian Cage. You're not Christian Cage. Don't.
I mean,
Oro, you're not Christian.
Can you play me the clip? There's no the lies clip. There's no lies detector for that one either.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Now, to be clear, Lexus King has a father figure. His last name is King, and it's the reason why Lexus King is not a Pillman. So, like, it's even wrong that way. Like, there are lies detected. It is a lie. Lexus King has a father figure that he chose to be his father figure over his own father, who passed away when he was a child, who was a legend in this business, who opens doors for him just by his name. And he chooses not to use that. Like, I think Lexus King is god-awful right now. But you know what? I give him credit for at least trying to do Lexus King as opposed to being Brian Pillman Jr. again.
My favorite part about this though is when he goes, "So Noam Dar is daddy." I was like, "No, do not say that. No." And then Aura responding like that, and I was like, "Good answer, Aura. Thank you very much. No, Noam Dar is not daddy. Do not ever say that again. I don't want to hear those dang words again, please." No.
There's only one daddy in the world of wrestling, and that is Tommaso Ciampa. Daddy Ciampa. That's all. Dominic is not daddy, as much as Liv Morgan wants to think so. She needs to be medicated as it is. It's fine. She needs her medication. Daddy Ciampa is the only daddy in NXT, in all of professional wrestling. Well, and Effie, but that's besides the point. That's discussion for me in front of the mirror and not for on television. Anyways, moving on. We have the Chase U segment in the classroom where they're having a celebration where Duke Hudson goes ahead and says that, I'm sorry, me and Riley let the team down. They're like, no, it's okay, Duke. They're a tough team, and we're going to go ahead and take them out on Sunday. And then Nathan Frazier and Lex and Axiom come into the classroom. By the way, do you remember Nathan Frazier being the flag bearer for Chase U? Because I don't remember that.
Oh, I feel like I might, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he brought it up during the segment, and I'm like, did that happen, or is that a Mandela effect that they want us to believe happened? Because I don't remember that.
I just remembered, I was like, that's the couple together in one scene, if anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Billy says, by the way, I wasn't even watching when Rosemary showed up, and then I saw people freaking out and quickly switched over. You're allowed to shout. It's okay. I missed it because I was on a different screen. Give me Rosemary versus Wendy versus Tatum versus... Yes, I'm all for that match. Give it to me as a fatal four-way. Give it to me as a tag team. Give it to me in any way, shape, or form. You can add Masha to that mix if you want. Just keep Taylor Wilde out of it.
She's not on TV right now. She's fine.
Okay, good, because she's not a witch. They tried to make her a witch last time I watched TNA.
She's a witch.
Well, I mean, it's a woman that rhymes with witch, but Taylor's fine. I love that. 6-way, add Mosh and Mia. That's fine. I'm down. Get all the spooky chicks in wrestling. Like, get them all. I'm fine with it. It's cool. Bring Julia Hart over. We can bring Julia Hart over from AEW too, for all I care. Isn't she spooky? She was with House of Black for a while.
Yeah. She's just spooky by herself.
Yeah, she's spooky by herself. Yeah, this match is going to be fun. Chase U versus Naxium. It was good the first time we watched it. It'll be good the second time. I don't think it'll be any better, but it'll be fun. It's a good match to have on the pay-per-view card. Speaking of matches that we don't want on a pay-per-view card, Malik Blade versus Brooks Jensen. The match happened. Brooks Jensen won. Moving on, Javon Evans is backstage with Sarah Stripe. Do you really want me to talk any more about that match?
No, I'm good. You can move on.
I know sometimes you hate it when I do that. Let's say 2 words and move on.
No, because this match and the Joe Coffey Javon Evans match are the reasons why the show dipped for me, because I would have done without those matches. So we can move on. That's fine.
Nope. Moving swiftly along. We move swiftly along to Javon Evans talking backstage with Sarah Schreiber, where he says he can wrestle, he can throw hands. And I'm like, really? That's news to me, because I know you can bounce. But none of us have ever seen that. Yes, you could have given all this time to Rosemary.
And yell it out. Thank you very much. Give it to Rosemary.
Could have done that, but we didn't. Speaking of another bad backstage segment, Hank and Tank talking about No Mercy and talking about Instagram and some crap on their Instagram. I don't even know. They're talking about stacks and food, and I don't know what the hell they were talking about. Anyways, OTM comes up and they start having a back and forth, and it sounds like next week we're going to be getting OTM versus Hank and Tank. OTM, please put them in the ground. Like, put them in the ground so hard. Please, OTM. Don't hurt them. Don't kill them. Just get them off my TV screen. They're going to be angry with after Jada loses that match on Sunday. They're going to be angry. So, that'll be good. Javon Evans versus Joe Coffey. Gallus gets the better of Javon Evans with the numbers game. Joe Coffey wins. Do you want me to talk any more about this match?
Not really.
All right. Tony D'Angelo is in back of the restaurant. He's walking up and he's talking to people. And the guy says, he took your room. And I'm like, well, there's only one he who would take Tony D'Angelo's room. And they go into the room and there sits he's all fine and suited and booted. And he looked fantastic in that vest. You see how good he looked in that vest? Obafemi. Obafemi was out there. And there's a really good back and forth here between these two. Because heel versus heel so often doesn't work. And let's be honest, as much as we love Obafemi is a heel. Tony D'Angelo. Most of us like Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo's pretty cool. But Tony D'Angelo's a heel. They made this heel versus heel promo segment about so much more than just a wrestling match. Tony D'Angelo talking about how Obafemi's size and stature makes people afraid of him just by merely being who he is. And that's cool. And Oba's like, Tony, I don't need to hear any more. I don't need your gratitude. I don't need your compliments. I'm here strictly to show you that I can do whatever I want, and I'm going to retain this championship. And he gives Tony the respect and be like, look, you're the Dawn. You're great. You run your family. You run all of NXT. But I rule over NXT. I'm the ruler. And Tony's like, we're not that different. And I'm like, you're really not, but you are. You're so different. Because Obafemi's going to squash you like a bug.
Oh, no.
I can't wait for this match on Sunday. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun.
You're going to laugh at me, though. When this first started, when they're like, oh, it's bad. It's real bad. I was not expecting it to be this, right?
Yeah.
That's just my whole mindset. I was like, I don't know what they could be thinking about. I'm like, okay, let's move on. And then there's like, he's here. And I was thinking, it took me a moment. I'm like, who's he? And I see up and I'm like, how did I forget that him and over for eating right now?
Yeah.
How? I was thinking, who's the he? I couldn't think of the he. I had to laugh at myself when I saw Oba. I'm like, of course you're freaking dummy. They're going against each other. Of course it had to be Oba. But my favorite part is I forgot what the word that he used, but the way Oba responded to Tony, he said, "Many have tried and none have succeeded," and that's it. That was the line. That was it. I'm good to go. But again, like you said, I like the back and forth they have with each other here. And it's like, imagine a back and forth between like two bigger guys in a restaurant, and this is what we get. They were definitely cooking in this one, and I enjoyed it. So
I enjoyed every moment of this. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this whole match once we get there. Give me a second. I am trying to figure something out for a friend of ours. The lovely Millie Rose wants to figure out how to use her Prime sub. There is a way to if you use your mobile browser, Millie, use your mobile browser and go to this. Go to our thing on the mobile browser. If you go to twitch.tv/ourlocalestablishment, using your actual mobile browser, not using the web app, you can go ahead and more easily use your Prime sub from there. If you look up how to use your Prime sub on mobile, there are other ways to do it. I know that we had a link at one point that one of the people were showing out there. They're making it harder and harder to use your Prime sub, especially on mobile. So you need to find ways around it, even if it just means logging into your computer or a computer at one point and just doing it that way. We appreciate you wanting to give us a Twitch sub. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. The other thing is when it falls off, when you stop using your Twitch sub at another channel, it takes a day or two sometimes to filter out that you're no longer subbed. So you might just have to wait until that happens again. But yeah, we appreciate you wanting to sub with us. We greatly appreciate it. There's a potential that this show and many of our other live shows might be moving to the YouTube platform going forward anyways, because Twitch is getting extremely expensive for people to subscribe. And with us trying to make money off of the ads, it almost seems like it's counterintuitive to be running on Twitch. So we've been having internal discussions as it is about whether or not we want to start moving some of our live content to YouTube. So there's also that to remember as well. So, and if you want to know where you can find all of us and all of our wonderful content, this is the place where you can find all of our local establishment content. I will leave that down below as we go on and talk about the No Mercy card. They gave us what I'm going to assume is the entire card for No Mercy tonight. That is Roxanne versus Jada Parker for the NXT Women's Championship. Chase U versus Naxium for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Tony D'Angelo versus Oba Femi for the North American Championship. Kelani Jordan versus Wendy Chu for the Women's North American Championship. Ethan Page defending against Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship. And of course, in the only non-championship match, friend versus former friend, tag team partner versus tag team partner, Wes Lee is going to be taking on Zach Wentz. This is a banger of a card. It's super predictable, but these matches are going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we'll be talking with this. We'll be on sometime on Saturday afternoon. You will be seeing the preview show with myself, Astrid Pizarro, and Miss Thickums, who is a 2K Next maker who does her own streaming on her own platform, who we're probably going to raid when this show's over, to be perfectly honest with you. So if you stick with us, you'll be able to see some of her content and see who she is. And then, like I said, after the show, be sure to join us as we're going to be joined, and I'll throw the graphic up one more time because I'm proud of myself for this graphic. The Wrestling Classic Justin will be joining us to go ahead and talk about all things No Mercy after the show ends. So make sure to catch us for that one when that happens. Millie Rose, having a WWE PLE and an NXT PLE is going to feel weird. I love when this happens. We have both of them on the same weekend. I just don't like having it the same weekend we have TNA. Yeah. It's been a long for those of us that watch everything. Thankfully, I didn't have to watch anything last Sunday. Nothing important happened last Sunday, so I don't have to worry about it. But for a lot of people, there's been a lot of wrestling that they've had to watch over the past few days. So, but yes, remember we will be no.
Yes. Anyway.
No.
Yes.
No. That was the second stupidest decision of the show. The only decision stupider than that was Christian Cage winning a championship opportunity.
We're not even going to talk about that.
We have a sing-along with Joe Hendry. Billy Rose saying, what I saw of that show was fantastic. I'm sure it was. I'm sure for those that like AEW, I'm sure it was a fantastic show. I just like causing trouble and stirring up shit. That's all I do. Sing along with Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry sings a song where he talks about how Ethan Page likes to cosplay. Ethan Page likes to show, he was showing footage of Ethan Page wrestling against himself in his last TNA appearance as Ethan Page versus Karate Man. And one of the things that Ethan Page was really disappointed about, and one of the reasons why he refused to go back to TNA, because of how they treated him on his way out the door with that match. Because he says that he has a director's cut that is light years better than what was seen on the pay-per-view. I believe he even put it out there, didn't he? The director's cut of that match?
Maybe his YouTube channel, but I'm not certain though.
But he showed up with his cosplay. He talked about him collecting action figures. Joe Hendry talked about a lot of things. But the most important line to get out of this is, Ethan sucks. Believe in Joe. Ethan put on some clothes. Which is true. Ethan does suck. We believe in Joe Hendry. Astrid's muted and pulling a me as she's looking something up and she's typey. And she types really loudly, so she can't do it with her microphone on. Ethan and Joe really are variants of each other. It really is fun. I love the two of them. You can tell there's a fun little charisma between the two of them. Ethan comes out and he's yelling at Joe, and the crowd singing Joe Hendry's new song to Ethan Page. And Ethan, he can't focus. He keeps trying to do it, and he can't. And they get into an argument, and then Ava comes out and says that, you know what, Ethan, your punishment for how you treated the referees last week during the triple threat match is that you're going to have a guest referee in your match this Sunday. And that referee is going to be this man. And you know whose music plays? Do I still have it in here? I do still have it in here. Yeah, whoop that Trick. Trick Williams is going to be the special guest referee. The same Trick Williams who Ethan Page promised the first championship match when he defeats Ethan Page. Huh. Is Ethan Page going to get a fair shake in this match? Billy Rose says, whoop that Trick and shut up Booker. I agree with shut up Booker. I didn't mention this during the Izzi Dame match, but this is a tweet that was liked by the Reality of Wrestling people, where I called out Booker T, where if he thinks Izzi Dame is so good, she should have a women's championship match in Booker T's promotion of Reality of Wrestling. The Reality of Wrestling people agree with me. Why hasn't Booker done it yet? Speaking of which, if you haven't checked out Reality of Wrestling, you really should. This week, Gigi Ray took on Tatum Paxley in what appears to be a really great match. Can't wait to get my hands on the footage of that match because I can't wait to watch it. But it's a lot of fun. King Booker.
You know, I couldn't find the video on his YouTube channel at least, so I don't think it's out there. But if you do look up Ethan Page's Cardi Man, you would do see a clip of him talking about that with CVV, about that almost ending his career. But I was gonna say I will not repeat those words that the people were repeating at the end of the show. But I do enjoy the fact that Joe Hendry has the crowd wrapped around his finger to the point that they're able to repeat that. He just said it 3 times. Man's a genius. I will give him that. I will not repeat those words though. I'm just saying. No.
I'll go ahead and I'll get my microphone up nice and close. Ethan sucks. Believe in Joe. Ethan put on some clothes.
Disagree.
Every time you need me to say it, I'll just say it into the microphone for you.
Yeah, disagree.
Millie goes, aw, thanks. We all do believe in Joe Hendry. Thank you, Brendan. We greatly appreciate that. We do believe in Joe Hendry, although STG apparently believes in the Queen, Astrid Pizarro. By the way, Astrid, I am sending you this wonderful crown so that you can wear this on all the live streams going forward in the near future. So
I think the title goes away when you call Mel the queen of OLE. She has the title. Don't look at me.
I did not call her the queen. That Mark talks about. Oh, STG gift sub to Millie Rose. Thank you so much. You are a legend, my friend. Thank you very much. You make fun of us both evenly. SCG, you can make fun of me anytime you want. If you want to really make fun of me, go ahead and watch my interview with Mark Talks Wrestling that came out this Saturday. You can go ahead and there's plenty of stuff in there that you can make fun of me for. Plenty of stuff in there that you can go ahead and make fun of me for. I talked for an hour and a half. I'm sure there's something in there for everybody.
I can't believe it.
By the way, it is the second least viewed of Mark Talks interviews. I won't say anything about the person who's least viewed. Yes, you do need to catch up with it. You can go ahead and watch that on the YouTube channel at the list below at our Twitch at youtube.com/our local establishment.
And then watch mine again if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Astrid's, please watch Astrid's first because she needs the views more than I do.
It's okay. I'll watch it with different browsers. I can beat you.
He says, I need a spoiler, Queen Astrid. Does Ed cry? We're not going to answer whether or not Ed cries. We will say that Ed did have some issue with water during the interview. And we'll leave it at that.
He has some allergies. So he had some allergies that he's talking about here.
You'll understand when you watch the show what I mean. I wait to the perfect moment before I make my appearance known here, which is usually while Ed is bitching. I mean, that's not hard. I'm quite often bitching about something at some point during all of these shows.
His favorite drink is Haterade, so yeah, he's always about something.
I'm almost out of it for the night, though, so we got to get out of here.
See?
So
There you go. But he has some allergies and some incidents with the water, apparently, which none of us believe, to be honest. So, but I didn't get him, but I think I came kind of close. I would say kind of close.
Astrid, speaking of kind of close, where can the people find you?
No, hold on. We're going first to this.
Yes, we're going to have an after show, and I'll even pull up the clip one more time. The Wrestling Classic. Justin will be joining us for our post show this Sunday. You can go ahead and catch the three of us right after this show goes off the air. Shortly afterwards, we'll be going live, and you can go ahead and catch the three of us talking about all things No Mercy this Sunday night. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. So definitely go ahead and do that. All right,
Look
Miss
at that
Ashton.
killer graphic, though. That killer graphic.
That one's actually pretty good. I'm actually really pleased with that one. Normally, I don't like mine, but I'm all right with that one.
Yes. Good. Finally. Yes, so we will have our predictions will be, I keep thinking the wrong date, Saturday sometime you'll get it, and probably on the YouTube channel. And then the No Mercy post show Sunday night. So really excited. STG, I'm gonna give you a little story.
No. Finish plugging yourself, then we can talk about
No.
this.
Well, so story time with Astrid for a moment. So let's sit down for story time. So here we have somebody that said, I can help you guys out with the thumbnails. And I said, great. One less thing we have to do. Isn't that great, Ed? We love that, right? Okay. The graphics are getting made, and somebody says, I don't know if I like it. And you know why? Just because Ed doesn't like seeing his picture on the thumbnail. Tell me I'm wrong. And then you'll see he did a recent post show.
I mean, folks, where's the lie?
So continue the story. There is a show that we did with Mark and myself for a post show. Guess whose picture is the only one that's missing from the thumbnail? Just a wild guess, you know? Yeah, it's just, so to what most people will probably see, oh, it's just Mark and Astrid. No.
And then there's the Deadpool. The Deadpool show with Mark and
yeah, it's like Deadpool review. He does his wonderful thumbnail. I'm like, this is great, but there's missing something. And he goes, what is it? You sir are on the show, and your freaking picture's not on it.
I was in that thumbnail. I was Lady Pool. Thank you very much.
Look, I got people right here with like, give me popcorn and everything. How great the story time is going. So now, because Ed doesn't like his picture on the there's thumbnails done. We have our guests on the thumbnails, and none of us. You know, it's
I
like,
mean, I can put you on the thumbnail if you want.
again, there's somebody else missing. There's not just me and Justin.
That's fine. It's just it doesn't have to be me.
So hence why.
The thumbnail.
And this is another reason why I decided, if you guys will see, because I'm gonna have him play it for the ending now. Both the taking over intro and the OLE intros includes everybody's beautiful faces. Why? Because I want everybody else to know who's actually doing the shows here, or like somebody over here. Yes. See?
I think the thumbnails are much better. The thumbnails are much better without me on them, just so we're saying.
Yeah.
Look,
and you see,
Millie Rose,
the only thumbnail,
Millie Rose says this graphic is so good.
It is good. And still. Anyway, you would see, though, the only graphic you will probably see him in is the one with the interview with Mark, because it's about him.
Yeah.
The only one.
And even then, I tried to get out of that one, and it didn't work.
No.
I tried not.
And the bad thing is, and to give you some more backstage tea, I own the Canva account, right? That gets for the graphics done. You can put his picture. Guess who's gonna remove it before the thumbnail's done?
I mean,
yeah. So no matter how this man will not put his face anywhere either. But then he wants me to put my face out there. No,
I have never once taken myself off of the thumbnail that somebody else has made. I have never once removed myself from any thumbnail where
I'm saying from the ones you make.
Well, yes, I remove myself from the ones I make because I never put myself on there to begin with. So I don't remove myself, I just don't add myself.
Thank you, STG. Thank you. And I'm glad this is the end of the show.
Yeah, because I can't wait for the YouTube thing to just go as everybody leaves when we start watching the YouTube video.
Exactly. Right. So this is why I'm gonna have him put the intro again for taking over, because you can see our beautiful faces with not only us, but the wonderful, beautiful guests that we had here so far, and that will keep growing as well. So at least you see his face every once in a while, you know.
Since Ash has wasted her time for promotion, you can find me on EdFries12584. You can find myself at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. This week, you can catch me and Astrid as we go ahead and cover all of No Mercy, pre-show and post-show. You can catch me most likely on the Bash in Berlin post-show, where I try to keep Mark calmed down with the raging heart on he's going to have after watching Gunther defeat Randy Orton.
Good luck with that, honey.
I know. It's going to be hard work, but Kimmy's Hokel's going to be there, so we have to act like we're semi-professional, and I have to keep Mark in check.
Okay.
Because we all cool for Kimmy. Because Kimmy's obviously the coolest of all of us here. Because at 23, she's doing what all of us wish we could do. Hobnobbing with all the favorites, including Sting, hell, she even gave us backstage tea on how Sting keeps his hair so cool. Anyways, you can catch us this weekend. Astrid may or may not, depending on time and how things work, she may or may not be part of the Emergence Post Show. If we have the Emergence Post Show, Mark Talks Wrestling will probably be a part of that too. I might be if I can get somebody's TNA Plus subscription. I don't know. But thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Astrid, do you want to do your plugs now?
Sure. Yes, we do love Kimmy in this house. Wait, that's not the one I wanted to clip. That one. We love Kimmy. Thank you.
We do love Kimmy.
No, you can find me on my Twitter, Blue Skies, astridpizarro, Instagram and Threads, astridpizarro20. If you want to watch and help me beat some beards over here, you can watch my Tom Talks Rubbish interview on his channel that he just released 3-4 days ago at this point. But yeah, go watch it, please. I would like to beat some people in there somehow. So very, very close. I would appreciate it. But like Ed said, you'll see us with the preview and post show. The TNA one is pending for me because I do realize that I work on Fridays now, like most humans do. So now I have to find a way to to do the post show after. So we'll see how that goes. But again, really excited for this weekend. A lot of wrestling.
You can find our local establishment, OLE Podcast, on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram and Threads at OLE Podcast. You can find us on YouTube and Twitch at our local establishment. If you can, go to our YouTube channel when these videos go live. Even if you stick around just for a little while, go ahead and watch the premiere. put it on in the background. Even if you muted or something, put it on the background. We could use the views because we're trying to get our watch hours up so we can get some monetization to go ahead and have memberships over there so we can do some fun stuff with memberships and things like that. We can take super chats, things like that over there if you can do that, so you can help kind of support us financially so we don't have to pay the exorbitant fees that Twitch is starting to charge us over here, because Twitch is about to go up to, I believe, $7.99 in the States and over $10 per subscription in Canada. And we don't want to do that to you people, so we're going to try to find ways to do it against, to try not to do that. So if you can go over to the YouTube channel, we greatly appreciate it if you can go ahead and give our content a watch. There's all kinds of great content. If you don't see something that you think you need to see, it's probably in the live tab, so make sure you click the live section so you can go ahead and catch all of the live content that we do, whether it be Taking Over, whether it be Japanese Wrestling Update, whether it be Marvel Talk, things like that. Remember, Marvel Talk will return on September 18th as we do the 2-episode premiere of Agatha All Along. We even finally got some times on those shows, so it looks like the first 2 episodes are going to be 40 minutes and 42 minutes long. So that's going to be a good start to the season. Joe Locke had a fantastic interview in Variety. If you haven't seen that, go check it out, where apparently Marvel told him that he didn't need to get buff and that he needed to say small, and we're not going to repeat the other word that he used because I don't know why he said that word. But it's a fantastic interview with Joe Locke talking about being openly gay in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and playing an openly gay character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's very interesting. I think you should all give it a read because he's an interesting guy with an interesting story, and I greatly cannot wait to see the work he does in Agatha All Along. We are going to go ahead and raid out to... Is Miss Thickums still online, Astrid?
Yeah.
All right, so we're probably going to go raid out to Miss Thickums. So thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you all next time. Hold on, I'm missing a button. That's the button.
I am in misery.